Welcome to part 2 of Android security structure. As you know, Google provides a set of cloud-based services that are available to different compatible Android devices. And these services are not part of the Android open source project itself, but they are included in too many different Android devices, right? So we have the primary service for installing applications from the actual store, which is Google Play. And you also have the services to actually push updates, which is called Android Updates. Android Updates is an update service that provides new features and security updates through either the web or through over the air. Okay. So now there's also the application services, and basically it's a framework that allows Android applications to use cloud capabilities like backing up your application data, backing up your settings, and also they have cloud to device messaging that is called C2DM. C2DM is used for pushing messaging to the cloud as well. Okay. They also have another service called Verify Apps, and it basically warn you or automatically block the installation of any type of a compromised applications or any harmful applications, and also it continuously scan applications on the device and warn you about them or removing those applications automatically. Another service is the Safety Net. Now some of you may be thinking that why I am explaining these terms to you. Well, because it helps you whenever you are doing pen testing. Okay. So now going back to the services, Safety Net is basically a privacy preserving. Well, some people call it intrusion detection system to assist Google tracking and mitigating known security threats, and also to identify other type of abnormal activity within the Android ecosystem. Okay. And now part of that is the Safety Net attestation service. And it basically allows third-party APIs to determine whether the device is CTS compatible and also can assist identify the Android app communicating with the app server, right? Now there's also the device manager. So the Android device manager is a web app and also an Android app that is actually used to locate lost or stolen devices, which is similar to what Apple has with Find My Device function. Now the Android security model is actually based on the concept of application sandboxes, okay? And each application runs its own sandbox. Now a long time ago, I mean several years ago, prior to Android version 4.3, these sandboxes were defined by the creation of a unique Linux UID. And the UID was actually for each application at the time of installation. Now from version 4.3, Android actually uses SE Linux, that is the security enhanced Linux, and it is actually used for defining the boundaries of the application sandbox in Android. Okay. Now as part of the Android security model, Android uses SE Linux to enforce MAC, that is mandatory access control, over all processes, right? Even processes running with root or super privileges or super user privileges. And this actually helps protect the operating system. Also, SE Linux enhances Android by confining privilege processes and automating the security policy creation on that device. Now, Android also includes SE Linux in enforcing mode, and it is basically a corresponding security policy that works by default across those devices, right? So now in enforcing mode, whenever you do security research in Android platforms, the illegitimate actions are prevented by default and attempted violations are actually logged by the kernel to demessage and to logcat. Okay. Android devices manufacturers should actually gather information about these errors so they can actually refine their software and their own SE Linux processes before enforcing them. However, unfortunately this doesn't happen all the time. Okay. That's one of the major differences between Apple iOS devices and Android. Although Google provides the operating system to Android, but it's up to the implementers to actually take care of these acute implementations, and maybe some implementations may be more secure than others. Now by default on Android, only the kernel and a small subset of the core applications run with their permissions, right? Now Android does not prevent a user or an application with root permissions from modifying the operating system, okay? You can also modify the kernel or any of their application. So in general, root has full access to all applications and all application data. So whenever users change their permissions on an Android device to grant root access to applications, definitely it increases the security exposure to malicious applications and potential application flaws. And that's whenever you see a lot of impersonated applications and so on. So again, a lot of people that actually root their devices has to keep in mind that whenever you are doing security research on Android devices, in a lot of cases actually what people do is they start from just by rooting a device. Now the ability to modify an Android device that you own, it's important developers working with the Android platform, right? So on many Android devices, users actually have the capability or the ability to unlock the bootloader in order to allow the installation of some other alternate operating system. So some will call it custom ROMs, right? And these alternate operating systems may actually allow a user to gain root access for the purpose of debugging, and then system components to access the features that are not present to applications by the Android APIs by default. Okay.